right. Wasn't that a great wicked new theme that I just composed?
Yes, it was.
That's the 2020 version of the ETC theme. Now, obviously, okay, so what people don't understand is that we have a brand new setup for 2020. It took us 10 years to get to a brand new setup. And Aaron has not actually heard what is happening. He hasn't even heard this new theme, but I can guarantee you
Could actually be really bad.
Awesome.
I don't.
Yes, exactly. Okay, welcome back, everybody, to the ETC podcast for September 2nd, 2020. My name is Casey Lee, and sitting across the city, as always, is...
Aaron Sedenka.
That's right. We are a socially distancing, responsible podcast here. It only took us 10 years, I think.
Is it actually?
The last episode... Yeah. Let me just look this up here. Episode 40, March 3rd, 2012, March 5th. Oh, no, 8 years. 8 years.
8 years,
March
okay.
5th, 2012. So not quite 10
got
years.
under the decade before doing it again.
Yes, but we are back, your one-stop pod for entertainment, technology, and cars. I am excited to be back. Aaron, how are you feeling?
Yeah, it's cool. Now with video, we've upgraded a lot of things.
Yes. Oh, that's right. Yes, for those who don't know, the ETC podcast is going video as well. Yeah. Super high quality, no lag whatsoever. Skype recording. Yes, the ETC podcast now has a YouTube channel with the video version of this podcast. We have moved hosts. We are now officially on Anchor FM. But the cool part about that is we are on more than just Apple Podcasts. We're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Overcast, we're on Spotify. Soon we're going to be on Google Podcasts and Stitcher and all this stuff. And we got approved a couple of days ago. So already like Apple and Spotify and Overcast were already on there. Yes.
For our huge audience, it's going to be great.
Yes, for the 3 people that listen to us, please download on multiple
Every
platforms.
platform.
So it looks like we have more audience than we have. You know what's funny? I feel like when I do projects in my life, like podcasts, videos, whatever, there's always something that the people close to me seem to kind of gravitate towards. Like I tried to make all these kind of serious films, and my family is the biggest fan. The work that they're most a fan of, I don't know how to word that. The work that they're most excited about is Pembroke Vice of all the things that I've done.
Yeah.
And I think the ETC podcast kind of is in that realm as well. There's like the people who are close to me, like Breton, my wife, she's excited about the podcast and the podcast coming back. And I don't know how Bonnie feels. Is she excited about this or?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. She said she wants to be a guest sometime. But
okay. Well, I've guessed.
Like let's get it started first. Just two of us and see if it lasts more than a week.
Exactly. I know a good friend of ours, Chris. Our family friends in Montreal. He lives in Boston. He used to be a big fan of our podcast, so I think it's going to be a big surprise for him.
Shout out! Yeah,
when we come back. Big shout out to Chris in Boston, and maybe Dave Hamill. He might
definitely
be,
our promoter, right?
Yeah. You would hope that our promoter is a fan of our podcast. So that's at least 4 people who like our podcast.
But this is a whole new world. Maybe between the YouTubes and the Spotifys, we're gonna get a huge new audience.
Yes. All the people, staying at home, nothing to do, definitely want to check out a podcast that is that produces an episode once every 8 years. So okay, to celebrate tonight's episode, I had a little introduction prepared, in a way. So I'm gonna read something here, Aaron, and I'm gonna see if you can guess the significance of what I'm reading here.
Yes.
Okay.
It's classic.
All right. So here
ATC.
goes. Yes. Okay. All right. So here goes. Come and see. I swear by now I'm playing time against my troubles. I'm coming slow but speeding. Do you wish for a dance? And while I'm in the front, the play on time is won, but the difficulty is coming here. Do you recognize what I'm reading?
So I'm supposed to guess like what that's from or what that is?
Yes. Well, guess what it's from and then figure out its significance.
Okay. I mean, that sounds like a song or something,
That's right. It is a song. It is a song.
but I can't quite. I have terrible memory, so
Okay.
the significance. I'm not. I feel like we played it maybe on the podcast. Is that?
No, we did
No.
not. We did not.
We used to do
If
that.
we did, it would be pretty. It'd be a pretty good celebration. But
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna do something that's a little awkward, but I'm gonna sing a little bit of this.
Yeah, I mean-
and see if you recognize the song. Okay, I'll find out where I left off here.
Yeah.
Okay. I will go in this way, and I'll find my own way out. I won't tell you what to be. Oh no, but I'm no.
Why is
no,
this so familiar?
It's so the podcast has become me serenading you, serenading Aaron.
This is not at all how I thought this was gonna go.
Okay, I'll give you a hint.
Yeah.
So it's from the Dave Matthews Band. It's a Dave Matthews song.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Do you happen to know which Dave Matthews song it is?
Which album?
No. What the name of the song?
Oh, the name of the song. Like,
No.
it's not Crash Into You, is it?
No. The song. Okay, the song is called Number 41.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I
now
see where this is going.
Okay. What's the deal?
Because I'm pretty sure this is the 41st. Is this the 41st episode?
It is the 41st episode.
That took way too long to get there.
Yes. All right.
Clearly, I
Smooth.
need to brush up on my Dave Matthews.
Yes, you need to go back into your Dave
I
Matthews.
feel like 8
catalog
years
and
ago I
figure
would
it
have
out.
gone that.
Yes,
8 years
maybe.
ago I would have like.
Yes. So it is the 41st episode of the ETC podcast. Yes, it has been 8 years. We have not been really on top of things here.
41's a lot though. That's like that's a
the
legitimate
thing, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things that me and Aaron talked about when we thought about coming back, our glorious return to the airwaves, was kind of reflecting on the original ETC podcast. So provide no new information, just dwell on our 40 episodes of success in the past. So I was browsing through our 40 past episodes. There was a time where we were doing this almost weekly, which is quite impressive. It slowly went down to monthly and then yearly, and now again, octal annually,
Decadly.
as it were.
Yeah.
There are definitely. Did you browse? I mean, there are definitely topics
No,
in here.
I wanted to be completely like
Blind?
like surprised, and again, terrible memories. So actually, like eight plus years ago, I actually have very few recollections of what we actually talked about. So I want to be completely like surprised.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy because so for those who don't know, our old website was the etcpodcast.blogspot.com. It's still there. Again, the podcast has moved, but you can still go there and you can still see our old episodes. And I mean, we've moved all our old. It doesn't really matter. You can get our new episodes, whatever.
Everywhere, anywhere.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Anywhere. But we have all our topics there and stuff like that. And it's one of those things where it's been 8 years. We're both a bit wiser. We're both a bit older.
One of those is true.
Different.
Definitely. Hopefully the other one. Hopefully both.
Yeah, wiser. We're definitely.
We'll
not
see.
older.
Maybe we'll go back into the podcast. Maybe we'll be surprised. We'll be like, wow, like I was way smarter about it.
Well, you know what's funny is that I legitimately started getting a little bit uneasy on terms of like, man, like what if there's some stuff that we said in these past episodes that just doesn't hold up that well. I was watching I was watching Bill and Ted, right? The new Bill and Ted came out.
Yeah.
And there's definitely things that don't really quite play so well in nowadays time. And there's definitely well, let me give you an example. So episode 40, which is the last episode that we recorded, we've whittled down to once a year frequency. That's just how much we care. Listen now, here are some things we talked about. And the first point is racism.
Okay.
So in 2012, we were talking about racism, and I'm pretty sure I know what we were talking about because I was talking about the kind of definition of terms like Asian American, African American, these kind of terms, and I remember my feeling back then was I don't really understand how far back you go in terms of origin, right? Because they say like Chinese people originate from China, but they spread to different countries and so on and so forth. So I mean, it's not bad. I think it's just it's legitimate.
Now
but
you got me worried. I'm like, it's like
I really wonder.
What did I say?
really wonder.
Yeah.
If there are things like, I mean, again, like obviously there's a lot of stuff going on around the world right now with racism. And
Definitely.
I was like, well, I hope, that topic, I didn't say things that were insensitive. But I think the point of all this, not to get too serious here on the first episode of Returning,
Yeah.
but I mean, we grow and we learn and we have conversations and we figure these things out, right? And I think if there's one thing I can take from all this is that, we have grown and maybe we've become a little bit wiser. Episode 39.
Mm-hmm.
Are you browsing this on your side there?
I was gonna say, like,
again,
what, like, I feel like I should probably look at this.
you don't have the URL either.
Where am I going?
So if it wasn't obvious,
Walk
me
me
and
through
Aaron,
this for the audience benefit.
yeah, me and Aaron are sitting in each other's houses, which are across the city of Ottawa. Because again, like, we're social distancing and we're staying safe. So yes. So Aaron, I just sent you the link to our website, which you would hope you would know, but maybe not. Anyways, episode 39, we talked apparently about Jian Gomeshi.
Huh.
And I wonder if that was around the time, things happened with him. Or, I mean, let's see. Jian Gomeshi.
Yeah, that's good. I wonder.
I have no idea. Like, it would be bad if in episode 39 we're like, oh man, that's Jian Gomeshi. He's a stand-up guy doing great things.
Yeah.
Right?
And in the same episode, we talked about making left turns illegal.
Yes. That's making left turns illegal. Yes.
Are these links? Oh, they're links to.
There are links.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we could just click on. Oh no, like Jian Gomeshi just goes to the show Q actually. So
maybe we're just literally just talking about that show.
Maybe just talking about the show and that things, whatever. So
yeah.
But 40 episodes, which I'm pretty impressed by. Episode 38, we had an interview. Do you remember that? We actually interviewed one of my friends from film school.
Yeah.
He was touring around Canada, drinking different types of coffee.
Yeah, it's super cool.
And they were talking about how
it
it was crazy because they were talking about how it was crazy because in Belleville they stopped and got like 2 Americanos for $11. And there's like, this was crazy.
Right.
Which is not that crazy considering like how much is that Starbucks drink that you guys get?
I feel that's like I guess what year was that? 2000.
That was 2010.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that wasn't a normal thing back then, but now it's, obviously Starbucks, but every other coffee shop now too, right? Like $5 coffee, not unusual.
I forget that I'm on video. I have to watch my facial expressions a bit more now.
We can edit it out.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, whatever. The whole point of this is that we want to make this as least little effort as possible. So if this doesn't sound up to your normal ETC podcast standards, we apologize.
I love the episode 37. I'm just looking. There's like looking through the topics, and one of them is just literally Chris Taggart.
What episode?
What is it? I don't know what the context there is, but it's literally just our friend, just his name.
That's too funny. Big shout out to Chris Taggart, who may have listened to the podcast at some point. I don't know. Who knows? I don't want to spend the entire episode going through all this. I actually do have stuff that I want to talk about. But I'd like to first off thank our audience and thank everybody who did listen to us back in the day for the 40 episodes. We know over the last 8 years, you guys have been pressuring us and clamoring at our doors to say, you got to come back and you got to record. And, we've been busy. And, I had a whole nother podcast going on that garnered maybe a little more audience.
It's great. I mean, we both happen to be on it for one episode.
For one episode. Yeah, definitely check that out. Casey Talks to People. Episode 1, Casey Talks to Aaron Sedanker. Yes, so big thanks to everybody out there. So we have moved again to anchor.fm/the-etc-podcast. Again, you can find us on Apple, Spotify, all these things. Now, I have to give a warning to people that if you just look up the ETC podcast, you're going to come across like a ton, Man, I put my phone on Do Not Disturb and it's still not on Do Not Disturb here. Don't know what's happening here. Oh, wait. Do Not Disturb. Okay, there we go. Yes, ETC podcast.
That could be a whole topic in itself.
Okay, so yeah, you can look for the ETC podcast and put either my name or Aaron's name next to it. Casey Lee, Li, or Aaron Sadanker, Sadhankar. Or if you can't find the podcast, you can email us podcast.etc@gmail.com and we can send you the link not in person, but we'll send you the link, a personalized email to the link.
Hopefully we don't get a flood of, hopefully we can handle that flood of
that flood of 3 emails that comes in. Yes. So there are, it turns out, I mean, even when we started the podcast, there were many ETC podcasts out there, to be honest. Right. Now there's a whole ton more podcasts out there.
It's a good name.
So yeah, I mean, we were one of the first. I mean, we started this podcast 2008, April 7th.
Wow.
Well ahead of the curve. We talked about this on Casey Talks to People, how even like Kevin Smith and Joe Rogan and all these big podcasters, I think started after we did. We were definitely the pioneers. So, yes, man, where are we going with this episode?
This already feels like old times.
I do admit the first episode that we ever recorded does make me a little bit like, ugh, that is not a great episode. But I will be the first to admit that I was a huge fan of episodes 2 through 40.
Growth, right? That shows improvements, and this is 41 times better than that first one, I'm sure. So
no, I feel like we've regressed a little bit, and we need to rebuild up our podcasting abilities. Okay, let's do the news.
Oh, news, yeah.
What are we? 17 minutes in, and we're into the news.
I hope I don't need to bring anything to this, right?
Well, yeah, bring something to it. Okay. So the first thing I want to talk about, again, this is not a super serious podcast. It's a little bit of escapism. But I do have to mention COVID a little bit. The news is not COVID itself. The news is the effect that COVID has had specifically on the ETC podcast, Entertainment Technology and Cars. One thing that we used to always talk about on the podcast was new movies that were coming out.
Yeah.
And so, when COVID hit and obviously everything was kind of, everything is still a little bit crazy. A lot of really big movies got delayed, obviously. Can you name 3 off the top of your head? Quiz time.
Yeah, I mean, I guess some of these are out now, right? They just got delayed.
I'll mention that the 3 that I'm thinking of.
It's probably similar to what I
have not come out though.
Oh, have not
come out. Yeah, they're still delayed.
Yeah, I'm not sure actually, because everything like Tenet is out, right?
Tenet is out, yes.
And some movies never even made the theaters, right? Like I think Mulan was supposed to go to theaters and just went straight to Disney Plus.
Yeah, exactly. So Bond.
Oh yeah.
Time to what is it called? Time to Live? Time to Let Die?
It's either die or live.
Something about time. Yeah. Maybe there's a time travel aspect in the new Bond. Who knows?
Yeah.
One of the biggest franchises, one of the biggest surprise franchises, has its 9th installment delayed.
Oh, yeah.
Fast and Furious
how many
9.
franchises have 9 movies?
Yeah, how many franchises have 9 movies that were not like part of some kind of epic long?
Were these supposed to come out this year?
Yeah, I believe Fast and Furious 9 was supposed to come out earlier in the year. It got delayed. Yeah. Actually, no, for sure, because I remember when the news came out that Fast and Furious 9 got delayed, I was pretty upset. And then Black Widow got delayed as well. Still hasn't come out. So what's crazy is, right, we have all these movies that got delayed, and then what you're touching on are the movies that still kind of came out, right? So Tenet is the biggest one for sure. Did you go see it yet?
No. So I mean, this is an interesting topic. So theaters are open again in a very different, odd kind of way.
Now we're based in Canada for our international listeners.
Yeah.
So you're right. Sorry, they're open. Yeah, go ahead.
So my brother actually went to see it. I think maybe just yesterday.
Okay.
Pretty recently, but so there's all these rules like 20 something people or something per viewing, something
Yeah,
some crazy low number.
Yeah, I looked up the seating arrangements, and did we talk about this, or I can't remember. So it's like every second row, and then in each row it's only like there's pairs. They're sold in pairs, like, which makes sense.
Yeah.
And then each pair, I mean, each row only has like 2 to 3 pairs. So we're talking, you're right, like 20, like I guess maximum in general you have to be 50 people anyways, right? Like under 50. So yeah.
So I mean, you know, obviously it all comes down to personal risk tolerance and things like that. But that sounds like, at least, because I think when this first, you know, COVID first started happening and some theaters were trying to figure out what to do, I think one of the chains, and like I might be completely wrong here, so I'm not going to name any names because then it's just like false news. But I think one of the chains,
classic ETC.
Exactly. I think one of the chains was just like, oh, we're just going to reopen, like with like no changes.
The chain? Like not a small town.
No, yeah, one of the bigger chains. They're just like, yeah, okay, cool. Like this has gone on long enough. Like we're just gonna open.
I wanna ask who you think it is. We won't hold you to it.
Doesn't matter. But
okay. Well, I can only think of like a couple.
This was an American thing. This was in.
Oh, okay. It wasn't in Canada. It wasn't in Canada.
Yeah, although they have theaters in Canada, so that itself probably narrows things down. But anyways,
yeah.
So which is ridiculous, because that's like, you know, if especially a big premiere, right? Like literally the worst place you could probably be. In terms of like in the middle of the pandemic. But it seems like what
2 hours. 2 hours sitting right beside people, right? Like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And indoors, right? But it seems like, at least what Cineplex is doing, it seems like they're going above and beyond. Like the spacing is definitely more than even what the health guidelines and stuff, you know, recommend. So I don't know. I'm not at that point yet, but I'm considering it. Like, I think, you know, if especially if it's maybe near the end of the run of a movie and there's not that many people going, like anyways, and maybe like in the middle of like a Wednesday or something.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
So I think, I mean, I'm considering it, but definitely at this point only for movies like that. Like basically
for Tenet, right? Basically just for Tenet.
That, like maybe one other movie. I don't know if they come up with another Avengers movie.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, we went to see Rise of the Skywalker premiere night. Aaron, I have to thank you. Aaron has been our supplier of Star Wars premiere tickets. It's always like one of these things where it's like, oh yeah, it's so hard to get Star Wars premiere tickets. But no, I got Aaron. Aaron will just buy our tickets for us.
I don't know how I get that. Like I somehow just have, maybe it's like a sixth sense or something. I just happen to be on the internet when
that's happening,
when it goes on sale. I don't know how.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, Rise of the Skywalker was a pretty awesome movie. Definitely one of my favorite Star Wars, no question. But we definitely, I mean, I'm pretty sure you shared the sentiment, but I left that movie thinking the best part of that movie was the trailer for Tenet. And if you guys have not experienced this, it only seems to happen in IMAX showings. But in IMAX showings,
it's not just a trailer, right? It's actually, they do this with a lot of IMAX specific releases where it's just like literally a chunk of the movie, like 5 minutes at least, right?
Like it seems to me that it's only Christopher Nolan movies. Like I think the 3 times I saw it,
good point,
were Dark Knight, Dunkirk, and Tenet.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's any. Yeah, you could be right. Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure for Dark Knight and Dunkirk it was the opening scene. I could be wrong about Dunkirk, but anyways, when that happened, I was like, oh my god, Tenet looks incredible. And then I guess, I mean, I definitely was not the only one thinking this, because it was definitely a big point of debate about whether this thing was, like, obviously Christopher Nolan, big time old school movie kind of lover. Like he shoots on film, you know, he likes the theater, you know, he's not as far. I don't think he's one of these people who thinks like streaming is bad. Like he doesn't say like streaming movies shouldn't win awards and all this stuff like that.
Yeah.
But he's definitely one who, like, you know, loves the theater. I think I can imagine. So he was fighting big time for this thing to get into the theaters. Yeah. And even I myself had like questions about that, because I was like, you know what? Like, I agree that I really want to see Tenet in the theater, but does it have to be released on time? Can it not be just delayed until things, I don't know, you know, like it's...
Yeah, it's a good point.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Tenet is out. But there's a bunch of other things, being advertised. Again, the new Bill and Ted came out.
Yeah.
But to streaming only.
On the other end of the spectrum of
yeah,
I think I'm
Tenet,
okay with
Bill and
that
Ted.
being streaming.
Tenet, Bill and Ted at the top. I believe
Yeah.
Bill and Ted was crowdfunded, right? I think.
I have no. I mean, I knew not, until basically it came out. I didn't even know they were planning on making another one. So yeah.
Right. I'd heard some rumblings of it, but I didn't realize it was anywhere near done. And then all of a sudden it just came out.
Yeah.
The new Batman, yet another Batman is coming out with Robert Pattinson. New Wonder Woman. So the movie industry is kind of in a funny place right now. And like you said, Mulan, right? It's like it's coming to a streaming service that you already own, but you have to pay an extra $30 for this thing. Or
that's weird. That one's weird, but I mean, it's gonna be interesting. Like, I think personally, I think obviously really bad for that industry in general. I'm sure right now. But I think maybe this will I think you and I are kind of similar in that I think we appreciate the experience of going to a theater, right? It's like I personally like Nolan movies and movies that make it worth your while to go into a theater. Because and also you can only watch, like, he shoots a significant chunk on like full IMAX, and you're only going to get that aspect ratio and things like nerdy things like that in a theater, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
So I think that stuff, like, maybe if movies, because it's just gonna be too costly for the lower end movies to even go to theater, maybe, right? If theaters are half the size, right? Like, there's not going to be space to show movies that aren't going to draw people, right? So maybe it's a good thing, right? Like, maybe the movies that, I don't want to say worth going to the theater, but more suited to that experience, I guess. Maybe that's the future, and then everything else is kind of streaming, which is nice, because a lot of these movies, it is kind of nice if I could just rent it on a Friday night, right? At home,
totally.
Right. So I mean, we'll see how it goes, but there's gonna be some changes, I'm sure.
For sure. All right. So Nobody is an artist who is playing nowhere. That's right. We don't have a song.
That's a cool name. That's a cool name for a band. Yeah.
But instead, we are going to take a short break, and we'll be right back after this. And we are back with episode 41, the glorious return of the ETC podcast. Be sure to email us at podcast.etc@gmail.com with your questions, comments, and concerns. And be sure to spread the word about the podcast being back, because we are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Overcast, Stitcher soon. Pocket Casts, if you use Pocket. I don't know what half of these things are. But you can leave us a voice message now too. If you want to go to anchor.fm/the-etc-podcast. You can leave us a voice message, and we will try to get back to you. Otherwise, traditional email works. Again, for the 3 or 4 people who are listening to us, we do appreciate the engagement. It was not too long ago that I learned that the word aluminium was actually pronounced aluminium for a reason. It wasn't that long ago on this young podcast where that happened. Aaron, do you have anything? We used to do something like you had a random piece of fact or a random thought or news or something, stuff that like we just would never dream of knowing.
Yeah, I think it's gonna take a little bit to get back into the rhythm of things. Yeah, I don't know. Like, what's let me see if I can off the top of my head, the last piece of news that.
So you legitimately don't have anything prepared?
No, I got nothing. Yeah.
All right.
But I mean, not that I don't read the news. I do read the news.
That's not what this bit is about, though. This bit is about like page 96 of section F of the news. That's what this is all about.
Yeah. I feel like I should. Definitely my indulgence in random things has not gone down. So I feel like
gone down?
No, I still very much. Okay, well, here's one that I actually don't even know how this came up. Yeah, I
I'm
don't remember,
excited.
but
I'm
it is
excited.
it is news, but it's very old news, which is like this is a curveball. This is like probably back when we were doing the podcast originally. So somehow I stumbled upon
This is
stumbled
this,
upon
this is a story. This is a story that we already covered, like in episode 35.
yeah, maybe. Yeah, I would not know. I would not.
Okay,
But-
so what's
but this
the
is-
bit? What's the bit?
So this happened. I think it actually happened around like between 2005 and 2010. Some like late
2005 to
Whatever.
2010. So even
That-
before we did the podcast.
late 2000s. I think it concluded around the time we were doing the podcast. So I might have talked about this already.
There's a lot of build up here. There's a lot of
Yeah.
anticipation here. Okay.
So you know Volkswagen, the car company, right?
Yes.
So-
oh, look at that. Capitalizing
Yeah,
on the C
exact-
of VTC. All right.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly. And you also know Porsche, also a car company.
Yeah.
Something
also,
that
also a C.
you probably know, but maybe some people don't, is technically Porsche is a subsidiary of Volkswagen. So Volkswagen
Yes.
is kind of like the parent company, they're the public company, and Porsche is like the one of the brands in that group.
Yep.
So what a lot of people don't know though is there's a huge back in 2008. I'm kind of making up the dates here, but around that time. There's a huge I don't know, not a controversy even, but like I feel like this would make a good plot for a Hollywood movie where Porsche tried to take over Volkswagen. Like they were
Okay.
two separate companies, right?
Okay.
And so the at the time CEO and chairman and whoever basically decided like, cool, like for one reason or another, let's try to take over Volkswagen, right? And how
Yeah.
you typically take over a public company is you just like slowly buy enough of them until you own the majority of it, right? Like until you
Okay, yep.
own at least 50% of the company.
And this
so they
is
started.
is this pre Volkswagen emission scandal?
I think so, it must be, yeah, because this
It
was
had
like,
to be. Yeah.
yeah. So they started off like with buying 20% of Volkswagen shares, and they kept going, and it was like basically one of the situations where they're saying like, no, we're not doing anything bad, but they kept going. They kept buying like parts pieces of Volkswagen until there was basically a moment where they were like inches away. I mean, I don't like we're talking about billions of dollars, but they're very close to basically succeeding. So Porsche, and a lot what you have to realize too is they were like a tenth of the size. Like Volkswagen sold 10 times as many cars as Porsche. Like it's you see a lot of Volkswagens, you don't see a lot of Porsches, right? They don't sell as many cars. So for this little like German luxury sports company to buy this huge thing was like a pretty big like move, right? And so they were super close to doing it, but at the last moment, of various people in Volkswagen, including basically the chancellor of Germany, like their equivalent of the prime minister or president, basically prevented it from happening. And actually what happened, it went from Porsche almost owning Volkswagen to Volkswagen basically consuming Porsche. Like basically in a very short period. So that's
basically at the wish of the German chancellor.
I mean, it was a concerted effort. Like, like obviously the head of Volkswagen was trying to prevent this from happening.
Yeah.
Right. So at the last minute, there was some like shift in kind of like the shares and ownership and stuff like that. So it didn't end up succeeding. In an alternate reality, if it did, that means it would be flipped around. Volkswagen would be basically a brand under Porsche. But to this day, the interesting thing is, again, this is getting into like technicalities of stocks and stuff like that. Not Porsche, the car company directly, but the family and the group that kind of like owns that company still has majority ownership of Volkswagen, which a lot of people don't know to this day. So
right.
That's
okay.
That's
I feel like that got a little serious there. I feel like. I mean, I agree with you. Me and my wife have been really into truth, movies, and
yeah, that would make a good movie, right? Like
kind of like political thrill. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I definitely agree. That I feel like that you're right. It's gonna take a little while to get back into your random news because that just felt like news. That was just like that.
But
just felt
from
like
2008.
yes. I was wondering where you're going with it. I wonder, I mean, were you going to go back to, how Porsche was started and Volkswagen was started? I mean, that was
this is
was the 40s, like World War II. No, this is 2005-ish. Okay, all right. I see things are where things are going. It's crazy because when we did this podcast, we said for some random reason that the podcast was 40 to 45 minutes. I think
what was it before? We is that
we
how
were in
long
the
it was before?
Yeah, 40 to 45 minute range. And I think I based that on the fact that a lot of the hour-long shows that we were watching back in the day, which had commercials, would come in around the 44-minute range.
Okay.
And that makes absolutely no sense when it comes to podcasts.
We have no, to be clear, there's no advertising here. We make $0. Probably make negative money off this. So just a disclaimer.
Well, okay. So here's the thing though. We might be able to, like, Anchor has a advertising platform.
Oh yeah.
But I think it's only available in the States right now. So we still won't be.
Well, apologies if there's an ad every 3 minutes in this. We did not know.
every 30 seconds.
Every 30 seconds ad.
Yeah. But again, I don't know how much they pay for podcasts that get listened to 3 times. So
that's a good point.
I'm a little bit more confident this time. I think last time we got up to something like 17 subscribers or something like that. And this time we have a bit of better of an analytics engine. So I mean, just because you have a better measuring tool doesn't mean you're going to perform better. But I'm curious to see where the podcast goes this time around. My point is, we're already at 37 minutes. Actually, we've already. This is what happens. Episode 1. It's great to be back. And there are definitely a lot of things we can talk about to kind of wrap up this episode. So I'm just kind of going through my list here, and maybe one thing that we should talk about, and one thing I'm kind of excited about this podcast versus the many other podcasts that I've been a part of, is that my goal is to have these episodes posted the night we record them. That is my goal.
That's what we used to do, right?
Yeah, I mean, either like at most it'd be the day after or something like that, or again like maybe 2 days after. But we were always, and the advantage of that is we are on topic. We are right on the hot button pulse of things, and literally this second, I was about to mention one topic, but I figure there's actually a better topic.
Yeah.
So, have you heard about Ascension?
Ascension, is that a TV show, movie?
It's David Blaine's new stunt.
No, I have not.
You haven't? Okay, well, okay. This is good. This is good. You haven't heard about this. Okay, so everyone knows David Blaine, pretty amazing magician, right? But I think what people, not everybody has grasped, is that the last couple things he's done is not really magic. It's just about kind of stunts and.
I was gonna say that stuff. I don't even know what you call it. Like, I don't know, being superhuman. I guess. Like I don't know. Yeah. Like superhuman feats. Superhuman. I don't know.
Yes. So this happened today, I think. I think it started today. He was planning to do this 2 days ago, but the weather was bad, which should give you an indication of what might happen.
Okay. Yeah.
Basically what David Blaine is doing in his new special Ascension, let's rewind a little bit. So David Blaine went underwater for days, hours, minutes. I don't even know how long. I think minutes maybe. He was in ice. He was in an ice block for a couple days, whatever. Yeah. So his latest stunt is he's basically tying himself to a bunch of balloons and flying, I believe, from New Jersey to New York. That doesn't seem that far, does it?
I wouldn't do it.
It's true.
I'll tell you that much.
So very much in the style of Up.
Right, so just balloons and that's it. Like, and he's just harnessed in or something. Like,
basically he's hanging from his arm.
It's crazy.
He's just like, I'm pretty sure it's like he's just kind of fastened into his arm, like he's kind of just like exposed.
Yeah.
David Blaine performed his latest stunt on Wednesday. Did he finish? Before parachuting safely. Okay, so I guess it's done. I guess it's finished.
Wow.
The most watched YouTube Originals live event ever. 770,000 viewers.
Jeez.
On this live event.
Wait, so that doesn't sound like a lot. Did you
It
say
doesn't
7?
actually sound like, but I guess live viewers. I guess that's the thing because it was
Okay.
live streamed. The stunt lasted 30 minutes. It still doesn't like
Yeah, this.
all these figures are making it sound not as
Yeah, I
impressive.
know. I mean, again,
You know.
like probably insane. I don't know how high up that goes, but I'm assuming
Actually,
you go,
it says 25,000 feet.
Yeah, I mean, can you can you even breathe? I feel like you can't even breathe at 25,000 feet. Like, does he have any equipment, like breathing equipment, or is it just David
No,
Blaine?
it's just David Blaine.
Okay,
And
I mean, that's-
actually, yeah, I definitely got this wrong because it's into the Arizona sky, which I believe does not
Okay.
cover New Jersey and New York.
No, I mean, that'd be impressive if we went from there, but so 30
Yeah,
minutes, I guess it must be because normally a normal person can't breathe up that high. Like,
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
most people would like pass out or something.
It looks like in one of these pictures, he's just on his phone, like just hanging out. I could be wrong about that, but yeah. I mean, I definitely like David Blaine's magic days better than his stunt days. I mean, it's obviously impressive.
Yeah,
But,
I feel like this one
I
is
don't know.
not like compared to some of the other stuff he's done. I have to check it out because maybe I'm missing something, but I feel this one
Yeah.
is not as impressive as like even the one where he was just in a glass box in a crane for like 40 days without food or
Yeah.
something crazy
Yeah.
like that. Like to me, that sounds harder because
Yeah.
like you have to survive that long and like I feel like you would go mentally crazy or something.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And he got buried.
This is
He also got
30 minutes.
like buried at some point for like a few days.
Oh, yes, that sounds
Like
right.
under
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that. Like to me, that seems like worse.
Yeah, then 30 minutes in open air.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. I mean, yeah, there must be something we're missing here. We shouldn't downplay this. I'm sure this.
No,
but yeah,
it's
you're
crazy.
right.
I'm sure. Yeah.
And he's getting older. I mean, maybe that's just it. Like maybe
Yeah.
his next stunt is just like to go for a walk to the corner store and then buy like a chocolate bar or something like that.
Yeah.
All right. That is it. We're coming to a close here on this glorious, glorious return of the ETC podcast. Aaron, do you have anything to say before I try to stumble my way through our typical wrap up?
I forget how we even end these. Like, do we have like an ending thing?
Yeah, we used to do this thing where I would kind of rhyme off the kind of, ETC podcast is hosted on this, and you download it here and email us and da-da-da.
Yeah.
And then I'd say, that's it for now, episode da-da-da, da-da-da. And then you would always have this little bit that would sneak in. Like,
Yeah.
like as the episode, I would stop it. I would say my last bit, and you'd be like, go eat cheese or something like that. Or like,
Okay.
like,
Okay.
David Blaine is not that impressive or something like that.
Okay.
That's what that. I think it always had to do with David Blaine or something like that.
Okay. Well, let's see what happens. Let's go for
But
it.
do you have any thoughts and feelings about being back on
Oh.
the air and back in effect?
I mean, I would do this again, so that that's a good sign, right? Because
It
maybe
would be so
then
good. Yeah, sorry. It'd be so good if you're just like, no, that's it. This is it.
it's like it's not working. This is not working for me. But I mean, this is we'll see how. I mean, I don't even know. Maybe all of my audio is not even recording right now.
Oh God, that was so bad.
We'll see how this format works because I guess one nice thing is I guess we can be anywhere and do this almost.
Yep.
Right. So maybe that's one advantage of our new reality of having to do this remotely. Maybe it makes it easier and we can kind of do it really anywhere. We can take a computer, and so that's kind of good because I feel our setup before was a little bit more intense. Like we had we had more equipment, it seems, and more setup.
Well, and we also had equipment that would fail a lot. Like if you go back and listen to episode 2, it's like we start that episode and we talk about how like we spent like half an hour to an hour just trying to figure out our setup. Yeah. Yeah. It's things have progressed in the last 10
so that's
years.
good. So
yeah. All right. That is it, everybody, for this wonderful episode. If you guys have any questions, comments, and concerns, this is kind of funny because we're doing video now. We just have this video of you kind of hanging out as I'm wrapping up the episode.
I don't know what the recording is going to be. It might be a split thing. I don't know. See,
I think
this is all a test, right? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, be sure to email us at podcast.etc@gmail.com. That's podcast.etc@gmail.com. See, I don't even know what. The ETC podcast is currently hosted on Anchor.fm and distributed to all your favorite platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, soon to be Stitcher, Overcast, and more. If you want to leave us a voice message, you can definitely leave us a voice message. But yes, I think that's everything that I used to say. Anyways, it is really good to be back, everybody. Me and Aaron plan to do this regularly, and we plan to release episodes regularly. So thanks everybody for listening. Spread the word about us. We are back. But that is it for episode 41 of the ETC podcast for this wonderful September 2nd, 2020. We hope you guys have a good one.
Be safe if you go watch that.